A submersible implodes in a fraction of a second, the entire crew loses their lives, and to this day, the disaster involving the Titan submersible remains a great mystery. But now the final investigation report is finally available, and what the investigators have discovered about the Titan submersible is more shocking than most of us could have imagined.
Today I'll show you what really happened on board. Before you start wondering, I've reorganized my setup a little bit. Feel free to let me know in the comments what else could be improved. Maybe something in the foreground, other decorative elements, or adjusting the background. I'm really looking forward to your tips. And if you don't want to miss any more exciting science videos from this setting in the future, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now. It's free and you'll always get a notification whenever a new video is posted. And if you're already subscribed, you can help the video a lot with a thumbs up. 5,000 likes might be enough to appease the YouTube algorithm. Thanks a lot, guys. And now, let's get straight to the point. On June 18th, 2023, the submersible Titan, owned by the company OceanGate, sets off on its first deep dive of the season.
The destination, the wreck of the Titanic, lying about 3,800 meters deep in the North Atlantic, roughly 600 kilometers southeast of Newfoundland. On board were 5 people, some of whom had paid up to $250,000 for this experience. Just under an hour and 45 minutes after departure, contact with the support vessel Polar Prince was lost. Completely abrupt. Silence. And that silence, as we now know, marked the tragic end of the Titan and its crew.
The international search and rescue operation lasted 4 days before it became clear the Titan imploded. At a depth of over 3,360 meters, the massive water pressure crushed the hull of the submersible.
It happened faster than the blink of an eye. OceanGate founder Stockton Rush, British entrepreneur Hamid Harding, Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood, and his 19-year-old son Suleiman, and French Titanic expert Paul-Henri Nagiol lost their lives. A tragedy that made headlines around the world, and to this day, people continue to debate how it could have happened. Was it gross negligence on the part of OceanGate and its CEO Stockton Rush, or simply a tragic accident for which no one was to blame? Now, the final report from the Canadian Transportation Safety Board is available, and it dispels any illusion that this might have been an unforeseeable accident. On the contrary, investigators describe a system that was practically headed for disaster.
And earlier statements from OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush also make that clear in hindsight. Just listen to this.
I think it was General MacArthur said, "You're remembered for the rules you break." And, I've broken some rules to make this. I think I've broken them with logic and good engineering behind me.
What was the problem? Despite its name, and unlike classic deep-sea submersibles, the Titan's hull wasn't made of solid titanium, but of wound carbon fiber.
It's lighter and cheaper, but it's also a material that accumulates micro damage under repeated stress without showing much of it on the outside. Think of it a bit like a piece of wire that you bend back and forth over and over again. Nothing happens the first time, nor the 20th time, but at some point, all of a sudden, it snaps. And according to the Canadian Transportation Safety Board, that is exactly what happened to the Titan's pressure hull, only at a depth where such a failure leaves no room for a second chance. As early as 2025, the US National Transportation Safety Board had reached a very similar conclusion. The hull had already sustained measurable damage during earlier dives, yet OceanGate failed to respond appropriately. Canadian investigators are now going a step further, citing inadequate testing and a design that violated basic engineering standards.
And this is where it gets really uncomfortable, because there were plenty of warnings, and early ones. As early as 2015, Stockton Rush visited the company Dua Marine to get tips for his project.
Dua CEO Liz Taylor explicitly advised him against using carbon fiber at the time. She later explained that the material simply does not perform reliably under water pressure. It is simply not the right material for the purpose. In 2018, 38 experts from the Marine Technology Society signed a letter urging Rush to have the Titan officially certified, as is standard practice for deep-sea submersibles. The letter was never sent, but a face-to-face meeting took place. Stockton Rush and the experts, it is said, simply agreed afterward to remain at odds. Crazy, isn't it?
You get a shot across the submersible's bow from nearly 40 independent experts, and the response is, "Oh, we just see it differently."
Rob McCallum, a former consultant for the company, also warned Rush in writing that the rapid pace of development and the lack of certification would put him and his customers in a dangerous situation. Rather than responding by revising the design, Rush took the warning as a personal attack. Anyone who predicted that someone might die in the process was making baseless accusations, he replied. Instead of relying on traditional regular material testing, OceanGate opted for a proprietary acoustic monitoring system that was supposedly designed to provide early warning of an impending hull failure. Rush described the system almost casually in an interview. Carbon fiber consists of millions of fibers. Some of them are naturally somewhat weaker, and when these tear under pressure, they simply produce a cracking sound.
At first, it sounds like a clever solution. The problem is, a cracking sound isn't an early warning system, but at best a message from a hull that's already damaged. Investigators now strongly doubt that this system would have given the crew enough time at all to react in an emergency.
Director James Cameron, who has visited the Titanic 33 times himself and is no stranger to deep-sea technology, also spoke out clearly after the implosion. He criticized the decision to use carbon fiber and explained that the material simply lacks strength under pressure. According to Cameron, pressure hulls for such depths should be made of solid materials like steel titanium or acrylic glass, not from wound fibers, in which microscopic damage could accumulate unnoticed over time. Cameron says, "I thought it was a terrible idea. I wish I'd spoken up, but I assumed someone else was smarter than me."
But what's truly explosive about the new TSB report isn't just the technical failure, it's the regulatory gap behind it.
Although the International Maritime Organization, IMO, has guidelines for the construction and operation of submersibles, these are not binding on member states. The Canadian Department of Transport was even aware that the Titan was operating with a Canadian escort vessel. Nevertheless, it was not inspected. Important information about the sub was scattered across several agencies, but no one put the pieces of the puzzle together. TSB Chair Johan Murier summed it up when presenting the report. No one was responsible for connecting the dots.
A single sentence that basically sums up the entire tragedy. The TSB is now calling for stricter oversight of these submersibles, both nationally and internationally, and above all, making it mandatory. Until now, companies could apparently navigate the web of different jurisdictions relatively easily, as long as no one noticed for long enough.
So what can we take away from this story? At its core, it's an almost classic mix of technical risk, ignored warnings, and a regulatory no man's land where, in the end, no single agency felt responsible. The Titan disaster is therefore not an isolated incident in a vacuum, but a textbook example of how many small oversights can add up to a single catastrophe. What's particularly bitter is that almost every single step along the way could have been avoided on its own. An independent certification here, a warning taken seriously there, a clearly designated authority at a crucial juncture, and the story might have taken a very different turn.
Instead, this report serves as a painful reminder that, well, how should I put it, technological progress without humility before nature inevitably leads to catastrophe. If you don't want to miss reports like this in the future, then remember to subscribe to the channel and give us a thumbs up so we can hit 5,000 likes. And now let's travel from the ocean deep beneath the ice of Antarctica.
Scientists there have just discovered a gigantic megastructure, and it looks like a huge hand. What is it? And how did this hand end up under the eternal ice? You can find all the details and the original footage in the video shown. Just click in the top right corner. It's very, very exciting, and if you click in the bottom left, you can browse my space shop where you'll find my self-published books signed by me, plush planets, the shirts from the videos, real meteorites, and much more. It's worth it, and every order really supports my work. Otherwise, I'd say, see you in the next video, folks. Take care.